I wish I knew how to quit you.
Then why don't you?
You're listening to Codependent Content, the podcast where we discuss the TV shows, movies, books, and video games in which we share an unhealthy relationship.
Porque todo lo que ustedes tienen es robado. Ustedes no pertenecen acá.
My name is Mattias. Join us as we try to unravel the characters, stories, and worlds that we are entangled with. Because just when we think we're done with content, it draws us back in. Hey guys, welcome to Codependent Content. I had a lot of technical issues for some reason on this episode, so there will be times where the video might cut out or maybe the audio cuts out. We have backups for both. The podcast will continue and you'll get the full podcast. But for some reason, we just had a lot of technical issues today when we don't normally have technical issues. And the cat did once again pause the recording at some point. So bad kitty, but please be patient with us. And I hope you enjoy the show anyway. Thanks. Welcome back. We are behind today and we are behind on the podcast. And
Life.
It's been 4 days since the episode came out.
I know. Life has been crazy.
So we got to move. We got to move, Natalie.
I know.
Quit wasting time.
Let's get into it.
Sad news.
I know.
If you don't know, we had a very tragic passing in the industry, in the film world. I do not know the details. I did not do any of the research. I have heard things, but what we're talking about is Rob Reiner and his wife were killed. Do we have to say unalived? I'm sorry. I'm on.
I don't know. I'm on TikTok way too much too. I know. I guess this is.
I don't believe in that. Anyway, Rob Reiner has unfortunately passed away along with his wife. Very beloved director, actor, writer in the film industry. It's very, very sad news that we have to deal with. We just figured this out last night. Me and you were talking about a screening of a film you're going to on New Year's Eve, and one of the best movies, romantic comedies ever.
Yep.
And I'm just like, that's like fresh on my mind after this happened.
Yeah.
So,
it was crazy. Like seeing that. Cause like When Harry Met Sally is one of my favorite movies. I was going to watch it on New Year's Eve because I don't like going out. And so I just thought it was perfect. It's a great New Year's Eve / Christmas movie too. Mm-hmm. So it's playing at the New Beverly. If anybody's in LA, it's playing at the New Beverly. There's still tickets. I checked, but it was just really
it'll be sold out now.
I'm sure.
Guarantee.
Yeah. It was just really tragic and it was really sad and unexpected. And it makes me want to like rewatch all of his movies. Which one did he do that I also really...
There's Princess Bride.
Princess Bride. That's another...
He did Spinal Tap.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, and he did the recent sequel.
Right. Yeah.
He's also...
He did Stand By Me.
Known for Stand By Me.
Yep. Yeah. He's just a great director. He's an amazing director. Again, When Harry Met Sally, one of, I guess, top 4 Letterboxd for me.
yeah. Misery, A Few Good Men.
He did Misery?
Let me just do it. Hold on. Let me start over.
He did do A Few Good Men. I knew
so
that.
Rob Reiner, known for Stand By Me, Princess Bride, When Harry Met Sally, Misery, A Few Good Men. Let's see. The Story of Us, Alex and Emma, goes on and on and on, and just and even a beloved actor as well. I mean, I still love his role in Wolf of Wall Street. I know it's a more recent one, but that's like one of my favorites is because he's just having so much fun. I could tell, you know?
Yeah. Oh, that's fun.
And I know he's touched a lot of people in the industry and without, and not just with his movies and with his writing, but just by being supposedly a good person.
Yeah.
You know, I can't comment on that. I really didn't get to meet him, but I've heard only good things.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
I used to work at the Alamo Draft House and we do a Princess Bride quote along. I think once a month they would often do that, you know?
That's
fun. It's these kinds of things, like he is ingrained in our popular culture.
Very much.
More so than a lot of other filmmakers,
totally,
you know?
Totally.
I think he's a generational talent that, for all we know, he was going to be doing more. I don't know what's on the docket if he was still working. I don't know if he was retired, but definitely still a lot left in the tank, you know? So it's very, very sad. But yeah, was there any other films that meant so much to you that
you felt like you wanted to talk about?
I mean, definitely Princess Bride. I haven't like revisited it as much as When Harry Met Sally.
Yeah.
But like how you were saying, it's just so a part of like American culture. But also like I literally think about the line, men and women can't be friends because the sex always gets in the way.
Yeah.
But I literally think about that at least once a year, like every year. And I watch the movie twice a year. Like I am very obsessed with that movie.
Yeah.
But that question or that statement, like it's a thought that's always in my mind because I don't think it's
amazing how relevant it is.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think Nora Ephron wrote the movie.
Yes.
But it's very much like that whole scene when they're just in the car and they're having that conversation and the way that Meg Ryan just looks at him like, are you insane? Like, are you insane? And so that, and then he's just like very casual about things. And she's always like looking at him like, are you insane? And that's clearly a part of like the direction of like Rob Reiner's direction and how he wanted these characters to be portrayed. Yeah, I just want to say I think about that movie a lot.
Yeah, I think it's definitely, it's when it comes to rom-coms and I've wanted to, we're both filmmakers. I've wanted to write rom-coms.
I'm not a filmmaker, guys.
Producer.
I produce
that's,
stuff.
You know, that's
I
that's a
stuff on the
filmmaker.
internet. I make stuff on the internet. Like T-Rex Ranch
we both love movies and we have thought about developing projects, I'm sure. But for me, like when it comes to writing rom-coms and researching, you know, what are the good ones, like I can't escape When Harry Met Sally, right? And he did a bunch of good ones. Like he's got a whole list of them. Yeah. And When Harry Met Sally found me at like when I was around that age, like the early 20s, and I felt like, you know, Billy Crystal at that age, you know, and it's definitely when you revisit it, it's one of those movies where you revisit it at certain stages of your life, and you're like, which one do I relate to more now? Yeah. Which is just what makes it so timeless and classic.
Very much. And like I definitely like relate to when they're, I guess their present day right now. I think they're supposed to be in like their early 30s. And there's just, it's just, I'm talking about it as if I don't want to spoil it. Everybody has seen this fucking movie. So anyway.
And the running in the rain, the final line of Billy Crystal. I mean, obviously this has somewhat to do with the writing, but like it doesn't get there without like Rob Reiner, right? Like everything he sets up and that moment, we talked about the grand gesture, right? Of romantic comedies within Pluribus. And this is literally the grandest gesture of all was when he runs and he says the line, what is it? Like when you realize you want to spend the rest of your life with someone, you want it to happen right now. Basically, you know, Billy Crystal can still say that word for word.
Oh yeah.
I've seen him on talk shows. They always ask him to do it. And it is one of the classic rom-com lines. Again, no knock to the writing, but I think Rob Reiner, he's brought a lot, obviously, to that film. Yeah. And he's going to be missed. We're going to miss him.
And then that scene with the I'll have what she's having, that was his mom,
I'll
wasn't
have what
it?
she's having.
Yeah, that was his
I think
mom.
That maybe,
like, it's like, so
classic scenes. We'll never, there will never be another like you, Rob Reiner, and
very true.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace.
But yeah, sorry we have to start the podcast with such tragic news.
But like, think about it though. Like his work is so wonderful. Like that movie alone, Princess Bride, A Few Good Men, Stand By. Like it's just really powerful work. You know, I think it's a positive thing that we're talking. Like we're celebrating his work. I literally think about his work a couple of times a year. You know, so rest in peace for sure. But
absolutely,
good stuff. Good life.
Again, without too much ado, I feel like we're here to talk about Pluribus. Again, my name is Mattias. This is Natalie. We're Codependent Content. We're talking about Pluribus, episode 7, The Gap, in reference to the Dorian Gap or the Darien Gap. I'm sorry, but could be references to other things. Oh no, should we analyze?
No, we don't want to do that. No, not too deep.
Don't get ahead of yourself.
We've landed on the not too deep crowd on TikTok.
Yeah, we're still pissing off the internet. There's a whole lot of things going on. I had a whole lot of questions written down. I think more it is kind of like general feedback of things that I would like to look back on in terms of how we're approaching the show and this world and like what they're like telling us, right? Because I feel like there's a lot of misconceptions, and I know we keep harping on certain things, and I know a lot of people are not really listening, but I'm taking what people are saying and I'm hearing it. I'm like, oh, I just don't see it that way. And I'm just curious, like, how should we be viewing it, right? How should we be seeing things? Are you okay?
I know people aren't listening. Duh. Yeah, of course they're not fucking listening to us. Like, they're not listening. They want to listen to what they want to listen to and then make
the
their
good
own
ones are
conclusions.
listening. The few of you are out there and you're still watching and still listening.
It's like when Harry met Sally. It's like when Harry met Sally. Sorry, because like there's like there's like this thing that it's like I feel like this is how people like view like content. Where it's like there's a scene where he goes, I read the first page of a novel and then I read the last page of a novel just in case I die. Like,
yes, no. Yeah.
And I just feel like that's how people like watch content. Just like they hear the last thing and then they'll just skim over and then they hear the first thing, skim, last thing. That's how people watch content.
You're so true.
Yes.
There's so many. Yeah. That's good.
So yeah, sorry to bring it back, but I love bringing
it's going to probably keep coming up. We might as well.
And you know I'm going to talk about Lost, so let's not even get into it.
I'm going to need like a Lost like button or something. Like, is it Lost?
And then it's like Jack being like, we have to go back. We have to go back. Oh God. Remember I got here, I was like, oh, I'm in such a mood today, and now I'm like, yay! Okay, anyway.
Well, here let's
get into it.
Let's speed round this.
Yeah, for sure.
These are questions I wrote down. I have no idea if we have any thoughts on them, but I'm curious, like where you might land on it. Right? Okay. Is it possible to forgive the Hive? Long pause. I feel like that's where most people are. There's one misconception is like they're very much putting the Hive as like they did a wrong thing, right. And we will forever be at odds because of that. And again, when it comes to, we talk so much about how the show is about humanity, and forgiveness is, I think, is a big part of that kind of thing. And I don't know yet if we need to forgive the Hive, but at some point, if this continues, if the Hive is continually representing like a new version of humanity and not like an enemy, you know, or whatever, like, are we going to be able to at all accept them or forgive them? Is that something we shouldn't be doing? Like, I'm not sure, because I feel like that's where
it really depends. Like, I think that for most viewers, people don't see the Hive as humanity. And that is my main issue. I think that's like the difference between how I'm watching the show and how a lot of people are watching the show is that they see the Hive, including Carol, which now we can get into what happens at the end. But up until this point, and the same with Manusos, they do not see the Hive as human. So they will never relent. They will never forgive. Why would you forgive anything that's not human? Yeah. You know what I mean? I still see the humanity in the Hive because they are... to me, it is a person. Like, to me, personhood and soul doesn't necessarily like go away. They are, you know what I mean? Like, if the Hive wanted to, they could have gotten rid of like the 12 billion, or what, 12 billion people, 8 billion people that we have on Earth to just be one thing, because they already have all our knowledge on it. They could have done that, but they didn't, right? That means that there is some sort of humanity in these people. But I think, like, for me, like, I've been asking myself, I'm like, why do they not see them as human? And they almost treat them, and even the show itself, very uncanny valley. There is something so uncanny valley, especially when we see the scenes with Manusos. Like, these people come very ominously, like through the cracks. Like, it's almost like they're invading Manusos. Like, that's how it feels like every time, like a slow creep. The show is treating them like that. I guess I just don't understand. And that's my question. Why do why maybe we see them more human than most? You know? Yeah. So,
I could understand both sides. I don't have any answers for that. I think one possibility is, the other question I wrote down is, are we at war? Which I would argue no. And I think some people are treating it as like someone has declared war on us and we are at war. And I think that's that's the problem we're facing, is like when you're at war, you can't think of your enemy as human, because the moment that happens, it's hard to wrestle with the moral questions of things. One of the things, I think I mentioned this to you before, one of the movies I wanted to bring up is very relevant now because it's about to be Christmas time. It's actually one of my favorite Christmas movies. It's Joyeux Noël, which is French for Merry Christmas. And it is a foreign film. I think it was 2008, maybe earlier, actually. It might have been 2005 or something. And it follows 3 different factions, 2 different sides of World War I. And this is trench warfare and all the soldiers in the trenches, right? During Christmas time. And we have the German side, we have the English side, all that stuff. And at a certain point, this is a true story. The reason this movie was made is at a certain point on Christmas Eve, within this movie, I'm going to spoil it for you, it's old, they decide to hold a ceasefire. All the sides agree to just bury their dead, hold services, kind of celebrate Christmas, and they start basically fraternizing with each other. And then they play soccer together. They just have a day. They just say, hey, in honor of Christmas, let's just focus on this stuff, and we'll hold our own ceasefire. And then the next day, we'll go back to doing whatever. We'll treat each other how we can, and it'll be all good. As you can imagine, it wasn't all good.
Right.
They hold the ceasefire. They go back to their sides, and their higher ups are asking them to bomb the enemy and attack. But because they had broke bread together, because they had played soccer together, because they had shared photos of their people at home, and they're like, oh, some of them exchanged addresses, like, oh, I'll come visit whenever the war is over. Like a total breakdown of military decorum. And they couldn't fire on each other. They just couldn't do it. The soldiers refused because now they knew the enemy. And it was rough at first. There's a lot of people that didn't like the fraternization. You know, they're like, this person killed my friends. I'm burying my dead friend now because of all this kind of stuff. This empathy and getting to know them still helped them to bridge the gap, bridge that divide, literally like crossing the trenches, you know, going into no man's land, right? That is a very powerful, I think, Christmas message, a very powerful message about humanity. At the end of the movie, they have to put all the soldiers on trains, send them off to a different place, and fight enemies that they don't know in order for them to get back to fighting.
Yeah.
And then at the very end of the movie, you realize this isn't an isolated incident. This happened all across Europe at all the different trenches. Maybe some people were still fighting, but at the end of the day, like this was not isolated to just one group. And I find that as a very powerful message as someone who is a veteran. It's one of my favorite war movies, and it's one of my favorite Christmas movies. And I think everyone should watch it. And when it comes to, again, bringing it back to Pluribus, are we at war? Have we declared war on someone?
Right.
I don't know. The only thing I am trying to suggest is that we do not know everything, and we are still trying to understand this virus, and we're trying to understand where humanity lies in these things. And if I have a little bit of empathy towards that, that's what that is. I don't know that we're at war with this group of people, and I think we should extend at least a little bit of grace towards that and understanding, especially if a human is under there, you know, because otherwise we would be treating them as enemies that we just want to get rid of or kill or eradicate or whatever it is. And I don't know, maybe I am actually a pacifist at the end of the day. I didn't realize it. But I think at the end of the day, once you get to know your enemy, it's a lot harder to approach it like you're at war. And I think that's where, again, the subhuman and the human and these why do people treat them differently? It's like, it's definitely like how you're looking at it.
It's how you're supposed to treat the enemy.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah. Anyway, go watch Joyeux Noël. Jessica commented, longtime friend of the channel, of the podcast, been commenting and engaging with my content for a long time. And I believe she said it very, very well. So I'm just going to read this comment from her. The question of why some characters are treating the Hive as subhuman is a really interesting one from a deontological perspective. If the Hive is a moral agent, which is an open question, it should be treated as any other person. I think that if it turns out that the virus carries some sort of quote unquote moral programming, that robs the infected of free will and moral contemplation. Then Kant would probably consider the Hive subhuman. But again, open question. I think the other interesting question is whether or not we still owe moral duties to the bodies of the infected. Aristotle will probably say we do, because in virtue ethics, there's a legitimate question of whether the defilement or disregard for human bodies damages our own virtue.
Right.
Very well spoken. I could never say anything as well because I speak not good words, sentences, things. I'm very bad. And also I know nothing about this kind of, I'm a college dropout who knows nothing about Aristotle things, but these are philosophical questions that I love. And I think they're worth exploring. Thank you again, Jessica, for the comment and for engaging with things. Because that's, I think, all we're bringing up is like, should we treat them as subhuman? Where do we draw the line of morality?
Right.
And these kinds of things. We are not pro hive mind, I would say.
No.
Right?
Yeah, no.
We may be anti-Carol at times, but we are not. That doesn't make us pro hive mind.
Being anti-Carol doesn't mean we're pro hive. Like, at least, me. Like, I'm not pro a virus seeping into me without my consent, and then I'm a shell of a person. Like, or nothing. I am one. Like, I don't consent to that. Yeah. I would not consent, so I don't like that. But I will say, like, first of all, that's great. Like, the whole subhuman conversation to me is like, that's what I keep leaning more towards. And first of all, burying the dead or having a regard to the dead, which for all intents and purposes, these people are dead. They're not, the individual is gone. And now it's a part of like one unit. So those bodies, like, how are you supposed to regard those bodies? Right. In a lot of cultures, you are supposed to respect the dead. Like, we have laws against necrophilia. Yeah, like it's a very human thing. A human thing you are supposed to do, right? Respect the dead, respect a dead body. Similar, it's a taboo. Similar to eating people, it's very taboo. Like, because again, all of these things are like very, very anti-human. So I think the show is really telling us that they do not respect humans and their humanity at all. And they're using our bodies, our vessels for a greater purpose. Sure. And that purpose could just be to replicate itself. Like, that's what viruses do. It could be whatever it is, but I think that the message is like, the messages are, what does it mean to be human? Do we respect humans? Do we respect all humans? Right. We talked a lot about like women and people of color. Like, what exactly does it mean to be human, and how do we respect each other in different ways? One
of the questions I've written down, speaking of that, is we haven't seen, as far as I'm aware, we saw children at the very beginning. We haven't seen children. Where are the disabled people? Right. Are certain humans more important than other humans? Like, when we don't know at the hive mind where the hierarchy is, when we know that like in 10 years a lot of people will starve, which bodies are going first? Exactly. Do they prioritize which ones? Right. We haven't seen any people who can't walk or do the jobs. We haven't seen people that are maybe blind or deaf or mute. Like, how does that work? Maybe we'll get that at some point. But that's just something that I've noticed is not only, as you said, like, could they be anti-human, but they're very specifically like choosing which humans to use. And why is that? I don't know. Very interesting questions. I think that's all we're trying to do, is also ask those questions.
Questions.
One of the last misconceptions I think I have written down is do you believe that the hive mind, the big joining day, do you consider that a violent act?
Of course.
Interesting.
Of course. Yeah. It's again, like, it's what do you think of, what does it mean to be a human? You have choice. You have free will, allegedly. You know what I mean? You have agency. There was no take the red pill, take the blue pill. There was no choice there, right? And so, yeah, it is such a quiet, violent act of losing oneself to join, I suppose, one entity. That's violence, period. That's violence. I mean, millions of people also died. That's violence. Like, and also, why did they die? I find that very interesting. Why were some people
like Helen,
right? Is it because it's a virus? And so viruses kill people. The flu kills people. COVID kills people. You know what I mean? And some people can take it and others can't, right? So and again, just like viruses, you don't have a choice. How you genuinely don't. It's all luck of the draw. It's all genetics. It's all luck. So it's like the genetics of the people that survived were essentially the strongest of the fittest, and they keep going. But nobody had a choice in this. Like nobody was like, yeah, I'll take the virus. Yeah, I want to do the singularity. Fuck this. There was no conversation. It's incredibly violent. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, non-consensual for sure.
Yeah.
I think I have not been viewing it as an inherently violent act, if mostly by definition of what violence is, right?
Yeah.
That there was no forceful entity that we are aware of. And again, this is a virus that is just spreading, right? That chaos happened and a lot of accidents happened. And yes, some people die from, say, like COVID, but COVID, if you consider COVID a violent act, then I guess you could consider this a violent act, right? I'm not sure that I would consider it like a violent act, like I would consider someone doing violence on someone, right? Because it would have to assume that there is a person or entity behind it that is forcefully doing these things. Whereas it happening, it spreading is what happened, and people died because of it. I don't know why. And some of those deaths may have been violent because of the nature of that death, if they fell from a plane or something, right? And that's a violent way of going out.
So,
but that's an effect, not necessarily the cause of violence, right?
So,
yeah,
for me, lack of choice is violence.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
That's how I see it. For example, there's this movie called Age of Innocence by Scorsese, and he has called it his most violent movie.
Oh, wow.
And it's a romantic drama set in the Gilded Age. And it is because of that, because the main characters in this movie have no agency. They lack choice. Even the men, even the protagonist, Daniel Day-Lewis plays one of the protagonists, and Michelle Pfeiffer. These people have no choice in the way that they want to live their lives and express their love. They are completely restricted by society. They have all the money in the world. They're fine. But because of society and its standards, they have no choice to live how they want to live. These people, like humanity, had no choice to say, I don't want to live like this, or I want to live like this. And to me, that's violence. I think I also see violence very differently. I mean, we can talk about violence.
I think I'm the only one that views it in a certain way.
In a very strict,
this is what causes a lot of arguments that have been online where people are like, "What? It was a violent act," and we don't. And I inherently disagree, but I can understand where you're coming from and where these things can inherently be violent. So I'm not unopen. So I apologize to a lot of people that I've been arguing with. I think we have different definitions of violence and what we view as violent.
Exactly. Like I personally having the experience of not being able to do certain things when like other people are able to do those things, like it feels very violent. Like something within you, like there's rage in there. There's a lot of feelings and emotions that come out when you don't have a choice to do certain things, especially seeing when everybody else does it too. But yeah, the Scorsese movie is really great. I think I know it's like saying romance, saying like a period piece that's a romantic drama. That's a very difficult sell, but it is so. It's
but to call it a most violent movie, I mean, he called
it
again.
That.
That's a poetic way of saying things. I
didn't say it. Scorsese said it.
But I can understand if he says that, then I would tend to agree. You know, I think people can wield violence in certain ways. And it can be a poetic violence, in some ways. And there are things that people would consider violent. Again, just the idea of not having a choice and things being thrust upon you without your consent or will, is definitely can be considered a violent act. I'm not unempathetic to that.
I know I reference other movies and media.
You should.
Yeah, because
we use media to
exactly like it's just this show reminds me a lot of Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah.
Have you seen Battlestar?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It reminds me so much of that, where why are the Cylons like seen as subhuman? Like they were seen so subhuman to the point where they just waged war against humans. You know what I mean? Like, and when they weren't acting they weren't even acting like the Hive, right? It's just like the idea, like the concept of otherness that really bothers humans. I think it's I think I mentioned tribalism the last time we chatted, but it's like any like thing, like we completely reject people if they are not like us. Like it is such a thing that we do. Instinctually, subconsciously, whatever it is, but just reminds me so much of Battlestar. Like the Cylons were cool. Like I'm so sorry, I was very pro Cylon. They can have babies. Like they can, like, you know what I mean. We're talking about the generation of Cylons that are not the robot ones, but the ones that were like the humans, right? The ones that was just like like it's like the ones that like looked like us, like did everything like us. Undetectable, But there was a lot of copies of them. A lot of like, and then just like how she's saying, there's like a lot of philosophy around Battlestar Galactica as well as this, where it's like, are you human if your brain is like literally in a vat? Like, what does it mean to be human? If there is a brain in a vat, which we saw in Battlestar, which is essentially kind of what we're doing here as well in this show. It's like, if there is just one brain or like several brains, and then that's what's really controlling like humanity, and this isn't really real. Like, does that mean you're still human? Does that mean the Cylons are human, right? Does that mean like these people are human because it's all centralized? This is literally like philosophy class.
It's what's love. And that's what these shows are about. We compare it also to what Vince based it off of, which was the zombies in The Walking Dead and The Last of Us. When we see a zombie, something that wants to eat your face off, it's real easy to say like, that's not human.
Exactly.
But the beginning of any zombie movie, especially nowadays, always tends to beg the question, like, is a human still under there? And therefore, do we treat this as something living or dead? What do we treat it as until it tells us otherwise? And there's clear indications when that happens. And Pluribus is so much more vague in that it hasn't shown us these tendencies of a zombie. Right. It wants to help us. It wants to give and serve more than it wants to, I guess, eat our brains. There is seemingly emotions there. Yeah. There's consciousness there of some sort. Yeah. There's some stupidity there, but there's a there's a sentience there that doesn't exist within most must-eat brain zombies.
Right. Yeah.
So I think the difference and the similarities are definitely there. And there are people that have, especially in some zombie things, I'm thinking, I don't know, was it warm bodies or something where you could bring them back? Is there a cure? Which is what they were like searching for, right? And so how do we treat these zombies if there is a cure? Yeah. Can we save humanity? Can we bring people back? And we haven't yet determined that even in this show. And I think that's always a constant question in zombie things. And it's an apt comparison when it comes to the show as well. And it's strange to me that people are treating them as something else because it's alien and not zombie. That's where I'm confused on.
That's the part where I think, I mean, I'm very happy to be wrong. I don't mind, but that's why I keep asking myself, I'm like, why do I see the humanity in them? Like, am I missing something? Am I not seeing, I am seeing a little bit of the uncanny valley stuff, like for sure.
Yeah.
But I still am hopeful that I mean, kind of similar to Carol, she still believes that there are people in there that need to be saved, right? That need, but she also contradicts herself when she is violent towards them. I don't know. She's complicated, man. I feel her. Also, Jessica, I want to say, I mentioned like the brain in the vat thing. I believe that is a philosophical thing. I don't know if it's Kant. I'm not sure who it is, but somebody did a philosophy. I took philosophy 15 years ago, or whatever, plus 15 years ago. So please let me know who it was. Please let me know what you think about that. If you think that we're all just like a centralized brain in a vat, and then we are, just little spawns of that. Again, similar to Battlestar and similar to the Hive. Or are we more than that? And also the Matrix also deals with that as well.
Yeah.
That we're all just like in these pods having some sort of simulated experience.
Yeah. Any philosophers out there?
Yeah. We are not.
I'm not. I'm an aspiring philosopher, if anything, but definitely like write in with your thoughts. But I think that these are the questions of the show. I think maybe to put a button on it, when it comes to these questions, these things, the reason why we are trying to understand and empathize is because until we do understand fully what's happening or what's going on, we need to look at what's being presented to us and treat them as such until a moment that tells me otherwise, right?
Exactly.
We can't until we understand exactly what is happening, because I am understanding like you said, if we're wrong, they're fully gone, they're fully dead, there's an alien that's controlling them, that's kind of thing. It's like, yeah, when that it presents itself, it's like, for sure, that's bad. Carol's the only one that noticed. We should have, been on her side the whole time, I guess, right?
Yeah.
But we don't know that yet. We really do not know. There's still so many questions about the hive mind. And until then, that's when you need to understand, even if you treat them as an enemy, to know thy enemy, you have to research. You have to observe. You have to see how they react, do experiments, I guess, with certain things, right? And Carol has done that to a certain extent. But she's also treating them in some ways like subhuman while still believing a human exists and that there's a cure. So there's so many, like, it becomes...
Everything's on her terms.
Yeah. Which is why, again, like Diabate is so... He also believes there's a human underneath there, but he doesn't... And therefore, he's not treating it as an enemy. And yeah, there are some problematic things with Diabate. I understand that. We have called that out for sure. But the difference of viewing if a human exists underneath the consciousness or if they are human, and the way that people on this show has treated them is essentially like what the show is about.
Right.
And we're just engaging with that.
Yeah.
I feel like it's all we're doing is trying to understand it. But yes, let's get into all of that preamble, all of that stuff, which is like a lot of things. We can quickly go through the rest of the episode, but let's get into general thoughts, because I want to hear them on this episode. The Gap.
Honestly, yeah, like I think it was a great episode. All these episodes are great. My general thoughts is that she's bored and sad.
Okay. When did you do this? When did you do it again? I really need you to like find a place and like settle, please.
Love that she switched cars. It was a great episode. She's generally bored and sad and lonely. Minusos, so great. Oh my God. That's what I really want to get into and talk about.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think you were just so spot on too about him having like military training. They still haven't really told us, but he definitely has like...
He's definitely a Boy Scout, if anything.
At minimum.
I don't know what the Paraguay version of Boy Scouts is, but...
But it's like, I do think he has some sort of like military training and I don't know, just something like, like crazy survival skills and knows what he's doing. So, and dear God, South America is beautiful.
The difference between...
I don't know if they shot that in California or South America.
They had to, I think they went all over. I even heard like Spain was included to get these shots. And
beautiful.
Having to do it obviously on different days, for him to have to, throughout the course of the show, like travel from different locations just to drive this car and like go through the forest or whatever. I I don't know what the logistics are of going to the Darien Gap and bringing a production crew, but I'm sure that there was things that they used that like played
as Darien Gap. Yeah, for sure.
But yes, very, very beautiful shots.
Yeah.
My general thoughts on this episode is I also loved it. I do feel like, I mean, we mentioned this. I have been seeing a lot of criticism, so I know you're not alone in this. It was a very slow episode. In terms of like talking about or podcasting, right? There's basically no dialogue through majority of this episode. It is showing you something, I think. But it is time passing, right? And it does pass. So so in that sense, as a podcasting episode, there's not much to bring to it. I think it's very clear. We're going to be hitting on some obvious things, I think.
Yeah, not
maybe
some
obvious things, but
it's not like high drama, not a lot of conflict, but I think there was a lot of character development.
Yes,
a lot of character development.
Absolutely,
for
sure.
So and that's one of my favorite things. So Carol, Carol relinquished.
Let's talk about, first of all, like she gives up on, the moment she leaves Vegas, something has shifted in Carol. Now that she realizes everything that she has been doing has been basically for naught, I would argue that she is essentially given up on the goal, the mission. She is no longer trying to save humanity, at least for the time being.
At least
she's going to take some time for herself, which includes, going to the art museum, going to the golf course, going to a spa, all these different things. Just let me take advantage of this time I have.
She's doing the trend that everybody's been doing on TikTok. I don't know if you've seen that.
I don't think.
Oh my god! It's like everybody's like,
I was in Pluribus.
But so she did it. Yeah, she finally did it. Like she got her Rolls Royce. She got the fanciest dinner. But also like nostalgic dinner, like something from her childhood, something from Helen, and then just like her favorite foods. Those puff pastries that I love pastries like that. Anyway.
Yeah. Two questions.
Dressed fancy.
Sorry, I didn't want to.
Oh, go ahead.
Two questions. If speaking of Rolls Royce, if you have a choice between Mercedes, Rolls Royce, what were the other cars? I think there was a
Ferrari?
A Porsche and a Ferrari.
Yeah.
Which one are you choosing? Which one are you going home with? Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Would you have chosen the Rolls Royce, or?
I think I would have chosen the Porsche because it was a convertible as well. I think it was a convertible Porsche.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I would have chosen the Porsche.
Okay, yeah.
And what about you?
I would be hoping for a McLaren, but I think the Mercedes.
Oh, the Mercedes.
I think the Mercedes would have been a nice go home with kind of thing. I will say I'm curious if she chose it because of the Rolls Royce, or if she chose it because it said just married, and she's like, well, they're not coming back for this car or something, like it's clearly a car that's being rented for this just married thing, as opposed to someone owns this car.
Yeah.
I don't know.
will say that like she chose like the least like flamboyant, and mind you, Rolls Royces are great and they're beautiful. But like it was not like
they're like quietly expensive.
Of course,
they're so expensive. But like there's for me just looking at it, I'm like, there's nothing.
That new design is not. It's not something.
Not loud.
It's not loud. Yeah, I think before, like the designs were, better, like in the 80s,
maybe,
or early 90s. Anyway.
It's really the interiors, right, where it matters.
Oh my goodness, yes. Also that. But
I've never been in a Rolls Royce, if anyone could tell.
Yeah. Me neither. I don't think I have. So yeah.
It's fun stuff. Here's I feel like interrupted, but going back really quickly. Yeah. One thing I want to bring in is we didn't talk about the gas station. We didn't talk about getting the gas, getting the Gatorade, doing her. Can we just talk about for the fact she literally, Natalie, she talks to the manager. She literally calls and basically complains to the manager. Can we recognize?
No, I can't say shit. I can't say anything because people are going to be like, she's grieving. grieving. She's grieving. That's why she needed it ice cold. She needed her Gatorade ice cold because she's grieving. Hello. I just don't get it.
Do we need any more evidence? Any more evidence
that
that she's a Karen? Listen, Carol, I love Ray Seahorn. That was the most Karen move that she has ever done.
I know.
Is the most privileged.
I know.
First of all, pull up to any old gas station. I need pump one on. Doesn't even mention. She knows they're watching. Just just fully assumes like, you know exactly what pump. You know exactly where I'm at. Just turn on the pump. Do
it.
Also, I want a Gatorade. She doesn't. You don't need a Gatorade. Yeah. I know she doesn't need a Gatorade. Yeah. But she wants it delivered. She wants it specifically to her just to piss them off or something. And then to call them back, to listen to that message.
Yes. And that's like the issue is that like if I were to do it, I'd be like, hey, like, hi, like, could I have, like, what would I get? Hi, like, could I have like a Coke Zero, like ice cold? Like, honestly, like if you can get it from the fountain, like I'd be like, you know, like, let's work this out. She's like, I want it like this, like this, like this. Ice cold, like now, like no, please, no, thank you, like no, you know, whatever. Like she's clearly very much doing it to be a Karen, like to be that person, to be, and that's okay. Like, and I think that's okay. Like it's a part of the character. Like that is a part of the character.
It's fun.
Is not about that, and I will say that is not a part of the grieving process, you guys. So no, okay, it's not. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to break it to you. Not in this house.
Okay. I love all that. Speaking of, her having to get these things delivered and get a Gatorade, and meanwhile Manusos is chugging gas out of a gas tank.
And I feel like they're both the same in different fonts, where it's just the abstinence. Not abstinence. It's not wait.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Actually, they're not getting laid.
They may be abstaining for something. They're non-alcoholic.
Abstinence.
Yeah.
But they're not getting laid either. You notice, like nobody's having sex on this show.
Well, one person's having sex on this show.
Oh, right. Damn. Yes, he is.
We know sex is on the table.
Good for him.
Absolutely.
Must be nice.
We also don't know what that there's a married couple, like also in one,
right.
you know. So who knows?
Yeah. So who knows?
They might not have. They might not. Who knows?
Imagine like you're the only people in the world having sex. There's like 8 billion people, and like you're the only one that's having the experience. That's kind of
well,
cool.
You're having it with everyone. Right?
Yeah. I guess.
It doesn't really matter. You can choose whoever. I don't know.
I don't know.
You know
I don't know. I don't know the logistics of sex for the Hive, guys. I guess it's not how we do it. It's not. The only person who would know is Diabate.
Do you think the Hive cares about where the clitoris is?
Yes.
I can see.
And this is why. Because at least 50% of the Hive is women. And it's not 50% of men don't want to know. There's some men that do. So it's like a high percentage. So then I would say yes.
Yeah, you would think.
God, I would hope. Because,
but do we think Diabate knows where it is? And do you think the Hive mind is educating him on?
I think they're judging him. I actually think they're judging him. The Hive mind wants to be satisfied properly, guys. Like... it is 12 p.m.
You know what?
Or like what time is it?
It's 2 p.m. 2 p.m.
It's 2. Oh my God.
We're pro Hive mind. Anyway,
this is
let's
so
see.
Funny. Let me.
Here's something I've noticed.
Yeah.
She goes through all these scenes. What do you think of the singing? Because it seems like Carol cannot stand being in silence. Right?
Oh,
She goes through every scene having to sing these. I mean, it's hot in here. There's Georgia on my mind. There's all these different songs, which I heard, by the way, they had to get licensed. They had to license all these songs for her to sing them badly, which Ray Seahorn, great
Yeah.
great singer, I'm sure.
It was great.
It was purposefully bad, but
it was
yes.
great. No, I found it so annoying. I was so annoyed. Did you like it?
I just found it interesting that she would not stop.
I found it interesting that like
I'm glad she finally got a radio later on.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, oh right, because radio stations like don't exist. I'm like, what is? And then
we have MP3 players.
That's what I'm saying.
We
Like,
also don't know if internet exists, but it has to because this is a question I saw on another podcast. Like they said they have Zoom calls, so the internet does exist, but it also seems like it's probably down. Who's
up when
running
it's needed.
it?
It's up when it's needed, I guess.
Talk about dead internet. What's that got to be like to be just the only one? But yeah, so I guess if you stream most of your music, like, can you stream it? So great. Don't get me wrong. There's probably like not very few options, but come on, does that Rolls Royce have a CD player or not?
I know. It was, I guess like, okay. It was annoying, but I got it. I understood.
Yes, yeah.
I understood.
Mm-hmm.
I understood. And she's alone. That's the other
She's
thing.
alone.
I do that when I'm alone.
Yes.
So yeah, you do that when you're alone.
I think often people do. I think that's been a known phenomenon is like when you are alone. Again, another podcast helped do this research, but there's a reality show called Alone where they drop people in the wilderness to survive alone. And you find that a lot of people just sing to themselves.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
This is something that happens. And so I find it interesting in that Carol has always loved the sound of her own voice, and she clearly just doesn't give a shit anymore. And here she is, just still filling the silence with something because she can't stand silence. And that probably is something that most people do, but I think that a person who can't be alone, a person who hates silence, has to fill it with something. There's people that always have a screen on, which is confusing to me, right? I watch a lot of content. I cannot imagine just always having like a TV going, having like friends in the background like all the time. And that to me is Carol, and that says a lot about like who she is, especially in these moments when she does find herself basically a month just alone, not doing anything. She gives up on this pursuit later on, as we see. But I just found that interesting and what it says about her. Much has been said, I think, about the O'Keeffe painting. I don't know if you have anything to say about O'Keeffe, George O'Keeffe, and the painting and the museum or any of that kind of stuff. Did you have any thoughts on that?
I get it.
No, I think I get it too.
I think I get it.
I don't really want to talk about the painting or the flower, which is apparently a poisonous flower. It's a whole.
Oh, is it?
It's a whole bunch of things.
Is it an oleander?
Honestly, I couldn't tell you. There's a lot of people who have been like picking up on that and whether or not it's an analogy or a metaphor or what's going on. I couldn't tell you. My only observation was when she, first of all, I kind of love that she did that. I have this painting at home. I'm just going to take the original painting, which is great. She took the original. I found that lovely. And there was a little moment where she kind of like turned back and like just looked satisfied. And I felt like in that moment, we didn't really get anything. I think that was Helen's painting. I think Helen owned the poster or whatever. There's almost a look of where she was looking for Helen. And so that's what I noticed there. I didn't notice any sort of analogies or whatever, but I have a big inkling that was maybe Helen's painting, and which is why she finds herself staring at it later on. There's something going on there. It's not very apparent. I could be just making that up or perceiving something that's not there, but that's what I noticed. I think that was Helen's painting, and I think she was looking for. She's still trying to make her happy. She's still wanting to have her around, And
that makes sense.
And there is a grieving process there, you know. So like, yes, she is grieving. I get that, The moment where she loses herself and almost looks for Helen because she's so satisfied that they have the original and she's not there is heartbreaking. Even if it wasn't really what was going on there. That's just what I read into it. But yeah,
for sure.
And I think you could read a lot into it too when she's staring at it later on. Yeah.
I kind of took it as like she's drowning because there's like something like in the thing in the middle. Flower term. And it felt like she's in the middle and and the hive is around her and she's drowning in that. That's how I took it as. And like, even if I saw that painting in real life, like I think I would have that feeling. And it's also so beautiful. It's such a beautiful painting, but it also makes you feel very isolated. It made me feel very like isolated or I read it that way, and especially in context of the show. I don't know what it is about like just white flowers in general that I really love. Like I love like white hydrangeas or gardenias as well. It might have been a gardenia, but I do think I like flowers. I just think they're beautiful. So yeah, it's beautiful, but it's also very sad. Like once you get into the middle of it.
And it's art. Again,
yeah, it's art. It's also very subjective.
Which we've been talking about is like it's art and it's the individuality. It's an individual take on this thing, and she also misses that. You know, we're losing that with humanity, so to speak, right? That will there be another Georgia O'Keeffe? I don't know. Let's move on to Manusos and this little time gap and the gap. He is traveling through, as you said, beautiful countryside. The most amazing scenery. He goes through these cities where there's still people. Most of them are empty. We talked about the empty cities, but then there are some people. I don't know what they're doing. They're just like making way for him so he can go up this like small street.
It felt like they came out for him. It was almost like a little bit of a
presentation
parade.
Again.
It's a presentation thing. I don't think that they were out doing things because they're all small towns. So I think that they were out there for him, especially like
to have the presentation of like, hey, humans are here. We're here.
Yeah.
You know? Yes.
Yeah. Especially to keep telling him to drink water. Like that, I thought that was insane.
I love that moment because I want to say it's the same rhetoric that Zosha used, the same stats, the same, like if you don't rehydrate, like, you know, if you lose even 5% of your water, then you're going to dehydrate all this. I think she said the same exact thing to Carol when she refused the water, if I recall correctly, you know, but to have it delivered again, and this is how the hive mind does things. I just love that moment so much. I thought it was a great, and all in Spanish too.
It was really good. I really, really liked that it was in Spanish. The water thing, it's because it's like, it's as if we don't know. They treat us. They treat like the others treat the humans as if they don't know. Yeah. As if we don't know how to human.
Yes.
But he is a late 30s, early 40s year old man that definitely understands the concept of water. Yeah. But it makes me think like, again, it makes me think, what do they think of humanity? Yeah. Like that they think we are so dumb that we do not know how to water. Like he's making a choice. Manusos is making a choice to not drink as much water for whatever reasons he wants. And they cannot understand that because they are going by science and logic and, you know, and it makes me also think like if they did lose their humanity then maybe there is not a human in there because we have gone, I'm dehydrated right now. I have not drank water all day. Not good. But you know what I mean? I was busy. I was working. I was doing stuff. Things were on my mind, you know, other thing, you know, so it's like, if there were humans in there, they would understand that sometimes people don't want to drink water and yet they persist and yet they give us these stats. So again, I just found it all very interesting.
I will present a small inkling because all the things I think you said are absolutely correct. I think it's very awesome. But one thing did come to mind that I think maybe also helps to explain like why they harp so much on like the water thing, if anything. Hydration is important. Yes. Listen, you brought up Battlestar Galactica. You brought up how we use other content. You're supposed to use content to compare the content. To analyze content, you should be using other mediums and other things to inform. We're coming from things that have informed us, and that's how we engage with content. I think that's true. I've brought up the Bible a lot, and I'm going to bring it up again here. I think that's important. I have no idea where they fall on the religious spectrum when it comes to the hive mind and humanity, right? Have they discovered which one's right? I don't know. Who knows? But those are probably interesting questions. One of the things I after this episode and hearing them harp on water again, And the way that they're so nice about it, the way that they're just being so kind, that's one of their first interactions with our survivors is to give them water. I'm thinking of like how Jesus told his disciples to disciple, to give men water, to be the water of life, kind of thing. Their water is usually a first introduction for Jesus in a lot of circumstances and helping other people. Right. When people come with their sicknesses and all these kinds of things, he offers them water first a lot of times. And he's like, also like, I am water. And there's an important part of that. A lot of his interactions are found around a well. Water is very, very important to us as humans. And so the religious connotation of, are they essentially in helping with their conversion? Are they trying to appeal to our survivors through those same teachings of give the man water first, let him drink, and then you can offer him what you want to offer, right? That's just a very simple philosophy, and I find that interesting that I don't know, again, if Vince Gilligan is putting these religious things in there, but that's something that I just thought about when it came to like the giving of water,
Definitely. Yeah.
But we see when he finally gets to the gap where his philosophy takes over, where he is very clear, like why he's not taking things. He talks about, you cannot give something that is not yours. You stole everything. A mindset that I think a lot of our audience or the people I've been engaging with have, they believe like Manusas. And I understand. I understand where he's coming from. I don't know. Do you have his thoughts on his philosophy?
I just want to look up the exact words. So he says, nada en este planeta es de ustedes. Like nothing on this earth is yours. So he sees them he sees them as vermin. He sees them as not human beings. He then lights the guy, the stranger says to him, we know how much your car means to you. And then he lights the car on fire. And then he goes, nothing on this planet is yours. No me pueden dar porque todo lo que ustedes tienen es robado. Like everything that they have is stolen. Anything that they could possibly give to him is stolen, including water, including like anything and everything is, according to Manusas, is stolen. And he doesn't want that. He doesn't want stolen things from a non-human entity. I still don't know why he's going this hard. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and completely isolating himself. He is on his way finally now to find Carol, but the way where like is he not curious to talk to them, to see what's going on, to see what's happening, kind of like how Carol did. His rejection is more, it feels more visceral, more real, more human. I don't know what it is. His rejection of all of this is just so much more intense than Carol's could ever be. Carol's is still in negotiation. He has a hard boundary around the others and the entity. There's
a conviction, I guess, there.
Conviction, yes, that's the word.
That is very, very strong. I'm curious, like, where this comes from in his life, right? Like, what causes this sort of conviction, right? Again, military could be it. Has he dealt with enemies before? Right. Has he dealt with people taking over countries, possibly? We're talking about, again, a man in South America. I don't know where the cartels reach, but I'm sure there was like war in certain areas. I'm sure there was maybe as a child, people, what do you call colonizers that came in and took things, right? There's got to be something within his past that causes this sort of conviction. He's definitely where Carol was, months or days ago when this first started. He's very behind, right? He hasn't even gotten to understand anything about the hive mind because he refuses to even talk to them.
Yeah. He sees them as an enemy.
Yeah.
It's just like how you were saying earlier about the Santa Claus movie or Christmas. Sorry. Well, he plain and simple sees them as an enemy. It's very much a boundary around that, and nothing can penetrate that boundary. And he's going to use all of his skills, his own skills and his own survival skills to get to Carol, to figure this out on his own.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah. He needs to. He needs to do it on his own. It's like very, very important. And but he also doesn't. He takes what he needs to, and he gives back though. He makes an exchange when he takes gas from people because he assumes that humans might come back. That this is also not mine.
Yeah.
His philosophy extends also to himself. If it's not his, he doesn't just take it and steal. He tries to at least offset. You know, there is this is what we have to do in war. You know, mentality that he probably has, but also he's not being selfish about these things. There's something about this conviction that I do kind of understand. Again, whereas we have disagreed with people on the internet about how we should treat the Hive, I'm not opposed to this kind of conviction. I'm not opposed to his kind of mindset. I understand where it's coming from. I also possibly believe we need people like this if we are going to quote unquote win this war. Yeah. If you believe it as a war, you need that mindset in order to survive. But you notice he doesn't, he's not he's kind of standoffish, but he's not like a dick to the Hive mind too.
Hold on. I think he is a dick to them.
He's kind of a,
he tells them, you guys don't belong here. So he has just a complete and total rejection of the Hive he does not see these people as people.
Sure.
Like it's done. Like for him, it's such a line. He's done with them. He tells them that they do not belong here and that nothing on this earth belongs to them. He is just like, leave me alone and get the fuck out of here. And then I am like obsessed with this actor. I was like last episode. The way that he says, ustedes no pertenecen aquí. Or él dice, ustedes no pertenecen acá. Because he's from Paraguay, so they say it differently, I guess. The conviction, like how you said.
What was the translation of that?
Ustedes no pertenecen aquí. It's you guys don't belong here.
Okay.
You people don't belong here. And the conviction, the disgust on his face, like the fuck you on his face. This actor's presence, like he is really embodying this whole character and minimal lines, mind you, but he said what he needed to say, and he really the actor just really delivered on that, and he's very impressive. He's
doing great. He's portraying a lot through action, emotion, through without dialogue. A lot of times, and he's doing an amazing job. I will say, before we become too hypocritical, this could be considered unlikable. There are some unlikable tendencies, I believe, about him as well. A person that would be so standoffish. I do feel like it's going to come to a head with Carol, right? That I don't know. I don't want to get too. I'm afraid of because we've like been so harping against like Carol that people are going to mistake us with like, this is what we said. If it was in a man, you wouldn't care him. Like, I think we do, but it's how something's being presented differently for sure.
These two characters are being presented incredibly differently. These are two different people. I am not saying that Manusos is likable, but he is not unlikable. In fact, like he is just a very direct person with a very, very clear goal, right? Whatever the goal is, figuring out the numbers, getting to Carol. And he's very focused about it. And he doesn't want anything from the Hive, and he doesn't want to give anything to the Hive. And none of it is his problem. His problems are not the Hive's problems, right? But with Carol, there is a lot of selfishness. There is a lot of Karenness. There's a lot of assumptions that she is the leader of the free world now. That she was like trying to save humanity. Like she very much put on that cape and wasn't executing on the right way. With him, it is just about him, and it's nobody's problem. Carol makes her problems everybody's problem. Yeah. Carol has outbursts. Carol is, and to me, like I told you, it has nothing to do with being a man or a woman.
Sure.
If anything, those are very male qualities that she has. I don't know if you've ever seen a man throw a tantrum.
I've seen a few few tantrums from a man.
Yeah.
Not a man like Manusos.
Not a man like, exactly. And Manusos is a
And
very
man is in his name. I don't know if
Manusos. His emotions
yeah.
and his goals are very controlled and calculated, and he has a mission. And there is no appealing to his emotions.
I think he is what most people thought Carol was, right? He's doing the things that people were like telling us that, no, this is who Carol is. I'm like, do not see her being able to do anything that Manusos is able to do.
She is not emotionally capable of doing what he is doing. You know, and it's no fault. It's no fault of hers. It's just they're built different. They're built different. They might have the same end goal, but they're going about both of those things incredibly differently.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying one is better than the other.
Yeah. At
all. They're just, and just like with the others.
I think I'll say in a certain context, if we are at war, this would be better. I would accept Manusos.
Right.
If we are at war, then before I would accept Captain Carol,
Miss Captain Carol,
yes.
Junior the Third. Like, you know, that's not her skill set. She has a very different skill set. She could possibly tap into, but her ego isn't. And I think with Manusos, I think his ego is manifesting in a very different way. Where it's not affecting other people.
At least not now. We'll see when he gets around people how this clashes with humanity and the Hive.
And now that Carol is back with the Hive,
I can't wait to see what. Yeah,
and I mean honestly, and he is too, because he got rescued.
Yeah, we don't know
against his own will. Against his own will.
We don't know how he's going to treat that. Do you want to talk about a Chunga tree?
Yeah, I've never heard
Chunga tree.
Do you know it?
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it.
It's a real tree.
Okay.
We saw it this episode. I will say that was the most harrowing experience I've ever seen an actor do. I can't imagine being on set. I don't know if he really is around this very dangerous tree, but I would not trust the actor, but it looks like he's weaving in and out of these trees. I can't imagine. I'm like so tense just thinking about it.
I don't know if it was, I don't think that was the real tree.
It couldn't have been the real tree.
But it is.
It looks like the real tree.
It looked
though.
like the real, and everything looked very real. That was crazy when he was like cauterizing. I guess that's what he was doing, cauterizing his own wounds again. Like I was like, see, this is what I'm saying. Like I feel like that's very military stuff. Like I'm like, that is like, he's intense. Like I really like that. I really do.
Again, survival instincts, if anything. You know, we have no idea, but I would say absolutely for sure. There's more evidence there.
Oh my God, yeah.
This is. First of all, I just watched Predator Badlands not too long ago, and this is like straight out of like an alien world. I didn't know these trees existed, but I think it's so crazy that this is our own world, and he is fighting through this thing. There's so many things about this entire sequence that we could talk about. First of all, the fact that Vince Gilligan does this a lot. A lot of people have been like, nothing happened in this episode. I'm like, there are full-on episodes where people go to the desert in Better Call Saul and in Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
And this is just another form of that. Yeah. You go through the desert, you come out changed by the end of it. You know, this is a trial, so to speak, of that one has to go through. And I think that's, first of all, this is what Vince is really good at. You know, so I have to imagine, like, what is the trial that he's going through? What is happening here? I don't know.
I wanted to see like one thing, which I guess it's like a technical thing or whatever. I'm like, first of all, how long does it take to go from Paraguay to the Darien Gap? How, like,
days?
Is it days?
Possibly weeks. Possibly weeks.
To drive, right?
There's no driving in the Darien Gap.
No. I just mean like from.
Oh yeah, it definitely
Paraguay.
took him. I don't know if they put the timer up. It definitely took him days. I think from where he was. Yeah.
So for him to be fluent in English,
or maybe a month. Maybe that's what. Maybe
but still, even a month. It's like, I think that he must have had like a base of English already, and then he was just like practicing, possibly. But like, I'm like, I guess realistically, that's the only thing where I'm like, I feel like they are playing in reality, but like in reality, it would take you a very long time to become fluent in English.
Yeah.
I had to learn English as a kid, but like it didn't take me a month. It took me like years. to be fully fluent.
Do you have any favorite phrases that he was going through? The gray cat, what was he saying? The yellow dog. I don't know.
Yeah,
There's like a lot of like interesting phrases that he was learning. Yeah.
And what was he saying in the forest? My name is Menusos Oviedo. I am not one of them. I wish to save the world.
Yes.
Very dramatic.
No, for sure. The repetition is important there. I'm wondering if he'll actually be able to say that. What's going to happen when he finally catches up with Carol? I find it the practicing, the difference between Carol just singing random pop songs and him like actually using his time to learn English so he could communicate effectively. A little juxtaposition there of how they are treating the world right now, you know, and who they are as people. Very, very interesting. Yeah, I loved all of that. It's very coincidental that we talked about Carol being prickly last week, or I brought that up, right? That Carol is like a cactus or a porcupine, you know, hard to get to. Like if not unlikable, there's definitely some traits to her. And then this tree pops up that I found very, very interesting and really adds to the metaphor of like what we were talking about with Carol. And I feel like Menusos goes through this trial and hits a tree. He still has another Chunga tree to encounter once he finally gets to Carol, is all I'm going to say with that this is a very apt metaphor. I did a little bit of research about Chunga trees, and they are very, very useful trees. Even though they're super, super dangerous, they're used a lot in making houses and doing things, right? And they do bear fruit. The fruit does provide sustenance for people. They're not, as far as I understand, toxic.
Right.
They provide animals and humans alike with a fruit. It's just hard to get to.
Right.
And I have to bring up the fact that this feels like it's a metaphor for Carol. That yes, we see that at times Carol has some good fruit, right? She has the capability of producing some helpful things, but in order to get to that, you gotta get through the poisonous darts of bacteria.
Yeah, man. Like, that is so great.
Just because a tree can provide fruit doesn't mean it's not, you know, hard to love.
Yeah, and that's so her.
Yeah.
That is so her. And honestly, like I feel that way. I feel that way about myself sometimes. I'm not, we're not the best people sometimes, but we have great fruit. We can give good things, we're not mean, we're not useless. We can serve a purpose. So just because we're a little prickly doesn't mean.
Prickly, a little bit bacteria infested, toxic, maybe poisonous.
And then that was the past. That's the past. We're not toxic anymore.
If you take out all the toxic pins, then we're good. You can love us, right?
Yeah. Those are gone. We're regular trees.
You can have the fruit all you want. Just get through the toxin first.
I'm like raising my. I'm like.
I feel like. What does the gap refer to? Clearly the Darien gap and the divide that is between, I think, Carol and Menusos. And I think still the gap that he's going to have to cross. For
sure. I
think the title has multiple meanings there. And if you don't see it, I feel like you're not looking hard enough. Because it's right there. He does get picked up by the Hive. They save him, much to his chagrin, probably. We don't know what happens to him. I'm curious, like, how he feels about this and how long it's been. It probably has been a month for him to recover, at least travel. It probably didn't take him a month to travel, but I think eventually the time frame is going to line up. But we do jump like a month ahead back to Carol, and she's doing the same thing. She's playing the golf. Not on the golf course. She's going, she's getting some fireworks, which is what she did at the beginning when she was enjoying life and just like, I can light up whatever fireworks. But here she lights some fireworks and doesn't seem that joyous about it. In fact, one of these fireworks tilts over. again, another very, very tense scene. Vince is so good at just building these scenes. I literally was like, this isn't going to hit her, right? And I'm like, why is she not moving?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, how long is this fuse? I'm like, what is about to happen here? I'm so lost. Like the amount of time, the editing is really good. For them to do that and to pace it out just so succinctly, I think was phenomenal. But yeah, she just stares at this firework and doesn't move. I don't even know what she's expecting. This is the moment where I'm like, oh yeah, there's some grief here. Finally, there's some depression here for sure. There's some loneliness. Not only is she given up on the fight to save humanity, she's very close to giving up on herself.
Mm-hmm.
Trigger warning for possible suicide things, but there's a lot of possible like suicidal tendencies of both of these characters going into this episode. Someone messaged me after this episode came out. I was like, are the writers okay? Do they have crisis management? Because there's a lot of heavy stuff going into this.
Yeah, there's just like a lot of what is it? The stages of grief. Like it's the way that all of that went down. I didn't feel tense, actually. I kind of felt the opposite. I felt more apathetic as well.
Oh yes, yeah.
Like I felt like, oh, this is it for her. Like her life has no meaning. It's nothing. This might happen. It's okay. I didn't think it was going to happen. But nothing has meaning. Her, it shooting into her house, the thing it's all on fire.
It's a neighbor's house.
It gets on a neighbor's house. Yeah. And then she waters it down. Like nothing has meaning anymore for her because she lost her goal because she was going about her goal the wrong way. Mm-hmm. It's there's nothing there. I don't know. I really felt that.
Absolutely. So. You always bring up something that aligns somewhere with my notes. And this is where I want to bring up like this loss of meaning is very, very interesting. I keep coming back to this analogy. I think it's one of my favorite analogies of like anything. And I've used it a lot in some of the clips. And it seems very, very apt for this show. If a tree falls in the woods and no one's around to hear it, does it make a sound? If no one's around to observe. And I love that and how that really just applies to like everything when it comes to like humanity. I brought it up before with her bad behavior, right? Well, if no one's around, no one's observing it. Like, what does being a bad person mean? What does this behavior mean to anyone if no one's around? It's just her and her bad behavior, And here, observation, I think, is an important part of the human condition. How do we live without observation? How do we find meaning without observation? Mm-hmm. Do we make a sound if no one's around to observe it? Loneliness is loneliness sucks, basically, right? It does. I think it's the biggest crisis we could ever have as humans. I think it's the one thing that we're constantly attempting to solve. Yep. This has been a personal belief of mine. Again, I'm bringing up a little bit of religion here, but in Genesis, I have believed Genesis as a metaphor for humanity, not as a literal text of like Adam and Eve. But if you take it as a huge metaphor, my personal belief is this is telling us that God could solve everything. If God exists, God could solve everything except for loneliness. Loneliness was the one thing he couldn't solve. He made a human that walked with, talked with him. They were together. They could engage in life physically in so many different ways. But he still saw that human was lonely. In order to solve that loneliness, he had no choice but to make another human. That humans needed another human in order to solve loneliness. That's why it always pisses me off when people are like, well, you don't, Christians specifically, evangelical Christians are always like, you don't have to be alone, you have God. I was like, God couldn't solve it when he was with Adam. What makes you think he could solve it now? He's like, when he's like an ethereal being that's not even like physically here in this realm, that
God is not human.
That is not what.
So God doesn't have these, God can't relate to this problem because He's not a human, or it's not a human.
Yeah.
God is God, and we are humanity. And that is exactly why he created another human for us to chill with.
Yeah. I think that's why I think it's like the one thing that we're constantly like fighting against.
Yeah.
That loneliness is a big part of like this. We have talked so much about loneliness, pandemics and epidemics, and not just a male loneliness thing, but that's a whole other thing. But like humans need other humans.
Sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Like the way that our city's designed, we're all very like, especially in like the United States, it's just like we're all very, very isolated. But I wanted to say something about like, again, like the Hive, where it just like reminds me of like, yeah, it's like God, and God is everything, but God isn't human, right? So it's like, again, like a centralized thing, a centralized being that is not human. And then there's, little humans like kind of left. But anyway, that's it.
So anyway, I'm not surprised that Carol is in this state where loneliness has caught up to her.
Yeah.
You think you like your solitude, you think you like your loneliness, but we need humans.
We do.
This isn't necessarily an extrovert versus introvert thing, but there are times where like we can't do this alone, right? We literally need people to observe us. We can't even be our worst selves. We can't be our best selves or our worst selves without other people around. Action and being around humans is super important. I always say, like, if you're like, say, dating someone, like, and you want to see who they really are, play like a board game with them, or do something like active where you see like how they interact with like in a group or all those kind of things. And these kind of things come out, but these are like observed through human interaction, right? Those observations, and having someone to observe it, having someone to call it out, having someone to recognize it and know you. That's all a part of being human. And I think, again, like if a tree falls, if Carol's who she is and doing all this and being her, what does it matter if no one's around to observe it? Does she really exist? I don't know. And that's where I think she finds herself by the end of this, is like, I want to exist. I want to have a reason for existing. And even if it is the hive mind, even if it is the people that I don't like, they're the closest thing I have to humanity right now. And that's what she goes to, which I think is a very lovely thing. Does she turn? Do you believe? Has she changed sides? Where do you think she is on that?
I don't think she's changed sides. I just think that she wants to be connected. It's a very normal human thing, like how you're saying. It's not about right or wrong. It's not about anti-hive, which is whatever. It's about having the closest thing to a human near you and not being able to touch it, not being able to feel a part of the tribe. Not being able to feel a part of something bigger than yourself. And I think that's why she asked them to come back. Yeah.
I wrote down, there were two things that I noticed Carol did not do in her isolation. And I'm just curious, like, what your thoughts are on this. The first thing I noticed that she didn't do is she didn't write. The one thing that I feel like she feels like she has purpose in doing, the one thing that was her main thing before all of this, you would think like after the mission is done, if you've given up on the mission, well, then you have unlimited time. And you notice she doesn't write. She doesn't go back to her book. She doesn't pursue even her own art, which I find very interesting. Again, what is writing a book without observation, right? Without someone to read it. So sure. But I just noticed that. Do you have any thoughts on it?
I think my thoughts on art is it's for humans. Like art, like we create art to express our emotions and our creativity. And to be honest, our humanity. Art is humanity, period. So when you're creating your art and you don't have somebody, like you're saying, to observe it, then what is the point? I think art is like the most purest human expression. Music, dance, the painting that we saw.
But some people would often, I think we've mentioned, is like, do you do it for yourself? Right? Like, is your art for yourself or is for other people? What do you think? And it's like inherently like,
I think it's both.
Yeah.
I think it's both. I think that if people have like that calling, people have like that calling to be an artist in whatever way, shape or form, but you create art for yourself. But the point of art is for the other person to observe it and to feel something.
To connect.
It's to connect. And when you don't have the observer, what do you have? You just have narcissist. Like, it's not necessarily narcissist, but you have a bit of like a selfishness, right? Indulgence in creating this. And yeah, I think at the end of the day, you use art to let things go, to let things out, to let your creativity shine. And when you don't have like there's another side of that. When you don't have the other side, then what is it? I don't know. So yeah, I know she doesn't write. Yeah, she's not a writer anymore.
Very interesting. Very interesting. What is your purpose? If not, you need humans to have a purpose, I guess, right? Could be a thing. The other thing I noticed that she didn't do, I don't think she apologized once.
No.
She asked them to come back.
Yeah, no.
But never once
not.
does she think, maybe I should apologize.
No, of course not.
It's just something I noticed. Some of you would say she doesn't have anything to apologize for.
I don't even like notice it anymore.
Carol would say she probably has nothing to apologize for.
It's like, of course not. Why would she?
But it's even in her asking to come back, it seems very defiant. It seems like she doesn't call them. She doesn't listen to the message again. She knows that they are answering. She knows they're watching. So she does it in a way that is so Carol.
Yeah, exactly.
That is very much like, I'm going to write this down. And she doesn't even try and call and reach out to them. She wants them to reach out to her.
Yeah.
Right.
But it doesn't
in a way.
like it's
she's
just
like, here's a sign. I'm here, but I'm not going to, I don't want to take the step, right? I don't want to take the first step. Which is, again, it's just a human thing. How you interact with another human. I'm not talking about a hive mind, right? How you would, if you were a friend and that person, like
I've had my moments in my life where I've done that. Like I've been like, just come back. Like it's not an apology, but it's the way that she expressed it, I think is like her way of apologizing, which is just,
it's a way of, it's
a way of, but it is very much her relinquishing any type of power, indignation, whatever it was. Like, she's just like, I'm letting this go. I'm letting this shell go. And I want to be a part of the tribe again. Like that's, to me, that's what it is. That's her form of the apology. Apology. It's very her.
Yeah. Very, very interesting.
Yeah.
One thing I will not gloss over the fact, and I'm sure a lot of people are yelling at us right now because we are always talking about Carol and stuff. And I do not want to ignore the fact that the hive mind also just doesn't reach out. I'm surprised that this is a whole month. They left her alone for a long time. It does feel very manipulative. It does feel like they put Carol into a timeout, and waited for her to relinquish, as we said, that doesn't feel great. That, like, her going back to the hive mind, while it's great that she wants this human connection, and I loved all of that and what we can gain from that, and she does need that. It's not a great, if the hive mind as a person, as a singular human being, would do that, I wouldn't feel great about that. That you waited for me, that you never reached out. I've had that, like, in. I've thought about it like in terms of like the breakups, I've had, I was like, okay, well, you said you wanted the break and you needed the space and I gave you the space, and at a certain point, after enough time passes, you could say like, I never reached out, but where were you? You're the one that did this. That's not, that would make me angry.
It's like, who's going to text first?
Yeah.
We're waiting.
Yeah.
We're going to wait this out.
Yeah.
Let's see, chicken, let's a game of chicken, right? Yeah. Who's going to text first?
Yeah. So first the passive aggressive drone things, and now this. There's something
exactly.
This is a very toxic
for sure.
Person X, I would say, if you want to,
or we can say even a relationship, right? I think they definitely have some sort of relationship. Who's gonna text first? And I will say again that it's just very like anti-human. Like, again, like, it's like, she's suffering, you understand the concept of humanity, and you're icing this person out knowing that there is no one in the world that she can talk to. That is like so anti-human. It's crazy. And it's like you're saying, very manipulative, very much who's going to text who first. She is, of course.
Makes me feel bad for Carol. Again, we've talked about the weaponization a lot of therapy speak and how they used it before. And this is not very therapeutic of them, you know?
Yeah.
It's not very positive.
Yeah.
It's not very, it's very problematic, I should say. That is the episode.
Yeah.
We did get through it. A lot of technical issues. But we managed. I can't believe it. But yes, we will be back hopefully very soon with another episode to talk about the pentultimate episode. We found out there's only 9.
Yeah.
And the pentultimate episodes of a Breaking Bad season or a Better Call Saul season was always one of the best episodes.
Right.
Especially when it comes to like the series ender. But I would imagine that, hey, if you felt like nothing happened on this episode, I'm assuming something's going to happen next episode. I assume, you know.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what happens now that Manusos and Carol feel like they're going to be on very different pages, whereas we thought they were going to be on the same page. I don't know that they're going to be on the same page anymore. I think there's going to be a lot of clashing, you know, that's going on there. I think there's a gap that needs to be bridged, so to speak, and what will happen and who's going to be on what side and what's going to go on. And still, what is the hive mind doing also when they're not? I have no idea. Yeah. We don't know what the hive mind is doing.
We don't know.
Now that they're gone and what they've been doing this whole time. I don't know. Anyway, no speculations. No, I'm assuming we have the same crush of the episode, which is Manusos. And then, all those things. We got to wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you, Natalie, for joining me this week and having this discussion.
Yeah.
And we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Codependent Content. For updates, you can follow us on social media. And if you ever want to see a video version of this podcast, feel free to check us out on YouTube or Spotify. If you have any questions or simply want to tell us about something we missed, you can email us at codependentcontent@gmail.com. Or just leave a comment on TikTok and we'll get back to you. Links to all our accounts, where to contact us, or other ways to support will be in the description or show notes. We're glad you're here and working through your traumas with us. Remember, when you're lost in the darkness, search for the light. Live long and prosper, and may the force be with you. Until the next session, cowabunga, dudes.